This shit is like an African chant.
Ain't no more team. What the fuck is Puffy doing?
I'm gonna have a drink to forget about it.
Diddy's name has always carried weight in the rap game. Legendary parties, massive influence, and an empire built on success. But while some bowed to his power, not every rapper feared him. From 50 Cent publicly mocking his behavior to Tupac's raw diss tracks, a few bold names stood their ground, challenging Diddy at every turn. So, what made these rappers refuse to fall in line when everyone else seemed to? 50 Cent, the unrelenting bully.
Didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated.
50 Cent has never been one to back down from a feud, and when it comes to Diddy, he's taken things to a whole new level. For years, 50 Cent has been one of Diddy's loudest critics, constantly trolling and provoking him at every opportunity. This isn't just some friendly competition between two moguls. 50 Cent has made it personal, and his relentless jabs at Diddy have been going on for over a decade. It all kicked off around 2010, when Diddy became Rick Ross's manager. That didn't sit well with 50, given that Ross had been a longtime enemy of his. For 50 Cent, it was as if Diddy had taken sides in their beef, and that's when the trolling really began. He took every chance to mock Diddy, especially for his infamous parties, which 50 Cent claimed to avoid. One of his most memorable digs came when he said he refused to attend Diddy's events because, in his words, he hugs you from the front and the back at the same time. That remark wasn't just about avoiding a party. It was a pointed shot at Diddy's character, implying that his behavior at these gatherings was just too weird for 50's taste. But 50 didn't stop at party etiquette. He's long accused Diddy of making money off Biggie's name, turning the late rapper's legacy into a cash cow. According to 50 Cent, Diddy had built his empire by constantly using Biggie's name to boost his own profile. "Enough is enough," 50 said once, accusing Diddy of being more interested in bigging up his bank account than honoring his fallen friend. For 50 Cent, this was just another reason to call Diddy out publicly, painting him as someone who would exploit anyone, even his closest associates. Fast forward to 2024, and the feud is still alive and well. When Diddy was arrested in March, 50 Cent didn't waste a second before jumping on social media to stir things up. "It's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done," he wrote, poking fun at Diddy's situation. He also posted a video of Diddy riding a bike around Miami, sarcastically saying, "Last seen on a bike," keeping the ridicule going strong. And as the details of Diddy's arrest started to surface, including the bizarre list of items found in his home, 50 Cent made sure to share his thoughts, mocking Diddy for the sheer absurdity of it all. The trolling didn't stop, and if anything, 50's attacks have only escalated. Tupac Shakur, from friendship to feud.
Probably 60% of the people don't have their high school diploma. It might be more, but it's just a school. It's just a neighborhood for people that normally fail. Just a failing. If you don't have sports, you're not a lawyer or whatever. You're not going to make it. You're not going to do well. You know, and it's very competitive, very dog eat dog. People who are your friends at one time, next thing you know, they turned on you. Come over to the house, I need to do something for me, man. Or they go over your house and they kill you and rob your house for your drugs and stuff. These are people you was in a sandbox with. When the drug game,
Michael Francis is nodding over here because he knows this.
When the drug game started in the early 80s, you know, when that started, the people that you were robbing with, your friends with and everything, next thing you know, you got different gangs and you're shooting. All these gangs, we all grew up together. All the people in his gang, all the people in the gang over here, some of them are related, and now they're killing each other. We were all friends. We grew up together. We used to rob and steal together, go to shopping together with the robbing money, smoke our weed, drinking together when we were kids. And next thing you know, I went over to my house after I'm doing good in this boxing.
Tupac Shakur and Diddy, known as Puff Daddy at the time, weren't always enemies. In fact, they were on friendly terms early on. There was mutual respect between them as two rising stars in the rap game. But everything changed after the infamous 1994 shooting at Quad Recording Studios in New York. Tupac was ambushed and shot multiple times, and from his hospital bed, he pointed the finger at Diddy and his crew, accusing them of being involved in the attack. Whether or not Diddy had anything to do with it, that moment shifted everything between them. What started as a personal grudge between Tupac and Diddy grew into a full-blown East Coast versus West Coast feud. Tupac, after recovering from the shooting, signed with Suge Knight's Death Row Records, and the rivalry between Death Row and Diddy's Bad Boy Records quickly escalated. It became more than just music. It turned into a heated war between the coasts. Both sides were releasing diss tracks and taking shots at each other, and tensions continued to rise.
Prison pistols in the air. Biggie, remember when I used to let you sleep on the couch and beg a bitch to let you sleep in.
Tupac didn't hold back either. His diss track, Hit 'Em Up, was brutal. In it, he called out both Diddy and Biggie, accusing them of betrayal and challenging their reputation. He didn't mince words, openly mocking them, and the song became an anthem of West Coast defiance. Tupac's line, "Puffy's trying to see me, weak hearts I rip," wasn't just a diss. It was a declaration that the gloves were off. The track fueled the fire, cementing the animosity between them, and the hip-hop world couldn't look away. Eminem, subtle jabs and dark accusations. Eminem has always been known for his sharp tongue and willingness to call out anyone in the industry, but when it comes to Diddy, his approach has been more subtle, yet still cutting. His connection to Diddy is largely through his close ties with Dr. Dre and 50 Cent, both of whom had their own beefs with Diddy. With 50 Cent constantly poking at Diddy, it was inevitable that Eminem would eventually make his own comments, even if in a more discreet way.
Living, yep, the day you put out a hit, the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed, But I ain't tryna beef with him cause he might put a hit.
One of the most talked about moments came in his track Kill Shot, a diss aimed at Machine Gun Kelly. In the song, Eminem dropped a line that got everyone's attention. The day you put out a hit's the day Diddy admits that he put the hit out that got Pac killed. While he followed it up with, "I'm just playing, Diddy, you know I love you," the damage was done. That line hit hard, reigniting the old rumor that Diddy was somehow involved in orchestrating Tupac's murder. Even though Eminem tried to brush it off as a joke, the fact that he brought it up at all spoke volumes.
We can just say, I'm like an R-A-P-E-R, got so many essays. Wait, he didn't just spell the word rapper and leave out.
It wasn't just that one line, though. Over the years, there's been a quiet but noticeable tension between Eminem and Diddy. Whether in interviews or lyrics, Eminem has never seemed entirely comfortable with Diddy's presence in the industry.
Diddy, yep, R.I.P. rest in peace, Biggie and Pac, both of y'all should be living, yep, but I ain't tryna beef with him cause he might put a hit on me like KVD, get him.
He's taken jabs at Diddy's parties and lifestyle, painting a picture of someone he doesn't fully trust. And given Eminem's close friendship with 50 Cent, it's easy to see why that friction exists. The Lox, the battle for freedom. The Lox, a rap trio from Yonkers consisting of Jadakiss, Styles P, and Chic Louch, were one of the most promising hip-hop groups to come out of the mid-90s. They had built a reputation for their raw, street-focused sound, and when they signed with Diddy's Bad Boy Records in 1995, it seemed like the perfect opportunity to take their careers to the next level. At that time, Bad Boy was at the top of the charts, known for its polished production, smooth hooks, and Diddy's larger-than-life presence as both an artist and a businessman. For the Lox, signing with a powerhouse like Bad Boy felt like a dream come true. But dreams don't always turn out the way you expect. Shortly after joining the label, the Lox began to realize that they were not a natural fit for Bad Boy's flashy, radio-friendly style. The Lox had always been about gritty, hardcore rap, a sound that reflected their upbringing in the streets of Yonkers. They weren't interested in the glitzy, polished image that Diddy had built for the label. While they respected Diddy for his undeniable business acumen and the success he had achieved with other artists, it didn't take long for them to feel creatively stifled under his control. Diddy had a very specific vision for Bad Boy, and that vision revolved around commercial success. He wanted hits that would dominate the radio and climb the charts, and that meant a more polished, accessible sound. But the Lox weren't looking for that. They wanted to make music that stayed true to their roots, raw, unfiltered street anthems that reflected the realities of their lives. Under Bad Boy's direction, they were being pushed toward a sound that just didn't align with their identity as artists. It wasn't long before tension started to build between the group and the label. As time went on, the Loex's frustrations began to grow. They felt like they were being molded into something they weren't, forced to compromise their artistic integrity in exchange for commercial appeal. Sure, they were gaining visibility and making hits, but it wasn't the kind of music they truly wanted to make. The creative differences between the Loex and Diddy were becoming more and more apparent, and it was clear that their visions for the future weren't aligned. The group had a gritty, street-hardened style that simply didn't mesh with the shiny, radio-friendly hits that Diddy was known for producing. The tension reached a boiling point when the Loex discovered something that shook them to their core. Diddy owned a significant portion of their publishing rights. Now, for those unfamiliar with the intricacies of the music business, owning publishing rights means that Diddy was essentially getting paid every time their music was played, sold, or used in any way. In fact, he was making more money off their music than they were. This was a huge blow to the group. It wasn't just about the money. It was about feeling like they had been taken advantage of. For artists who prided themselves on their street smarts and independence, realizing that someone else was profiting more from their work than they were was a hard pill to swallow.
You know what I'm saying? All that throwing the refrigerator and you gonna kill, you ain't killing nobody, man. You know what I'm saying? We businessmen. We all
The tension reached its peak in a heated argument between the Loex and Diddy. During one of their confrontations, Styles P famously threw a chair at Diddy, marking a major turning point in their relationship. This wasn't just an outburst. It was a symbol of the growing resentment the Loex had for being trapped in a contract they felt wasn't fair. They wanted their freedom, but Diddy wasn't letting them go easily.
In the street, and the nice trucks, the Rangers, the Benzes, whatever vehicles we in, when we copped our houses, when we did all of that, we did that off a hard-earned side artist.
The legal battle that followed became public, with the LOX launching a Free the Loex campaign, even taking to the streets and radio to voice their frustrations. They weren't just fighting for their freedom, they were fighting for control over their music, their careers, and their identity as artists. Eventually, after a lengthy and very public back and forth, Diddy finally released the Lox from their contract, allowing them to pursue their careers without Bad Boy's interference. Drake, the silent conflict. The tension between Diddy and Drake has always been one of those under-the-radar feuds in the music industry, but it all came to a head during a particularly infamous night in 2014. It was at Livy nightclub in Miami, where things escalated from quiet whispers of rivalry to a full-blown physical confrontation. According to rumors and reports from that night, Diddy allegedly slapped Drake during an argument, and the root of it all was something seemingly simple: a song. The song in question was 0 to 100, one of Drake's biggest hits. But before it became the anthem that fans around the world couldn't stop playing, there was a lot of drama behind the scenes. The beat for the track had been sent to both Diddy and Drake, and that's where the issue started. Diddy reportedly had plans for the beat. He liked it and wanted to use it for his own project. But while Diddy was still figuring out what to do with it, Drake moved fast. He recorded and released the track, and 0 to 100 quickly blew up, becoming one of his signature songs. To Diddy, this wasn't just about losing a track, it was about feeling disrespected. In his eyes, Drake had stolen something from him, and in the heat of the moment at the nightclub, that feeling boiled over into a physical altercation. Diddy, a legend in his own right, has always been a larger-than-life figure in the music industry. His reputation for being a tough businessman, a mogul, and a force to be reckoned with has followed him for years. So for him, the situation wasn't just about a song, it was about the principle. He felt that Drake had crossed a line, taking something that was meant for him and releasing it without giving him the chance to use it first. The slap wasn't just about anger, it was a reaction to what Diddy perceived as a serious disrespect, not just professionally, but personally. On the other side of things, Drake didn't really fuel the fire in the aftermath. While Diddy was open about his frustration, Drake mostly kept quiet about the incident. There wasn't any public feud or statements from Drake calling Diddy out. Instead, Drake handled things in his own subtle way, a style that's become typical for him when dealing with industry beefs. Rather than directly addressing the altercation or airing any grievances in interviews, Drake let his music do the talking. He didn't make any dramatic responses, but he did something that fans have come to expect from him. He threw shade. In the years following the incident, many fans have pointed to Drake's track 4 p.m. in Calabasas as a response to the nightclub slap. The song is filled with lyrics that seem to be aimed at Diddy, though Drake never actually names him. It's all very indirect, but the tone of the song is enough for listeners to make the connection. In typical Drake fashion, the lyrics seem to be both reflective and dismissive, as if he's acknowledging the tension without giving it too much energy. He takes jabs, but they're subtle, more like veiled insults than outright attacks. This is the way Drake handles most of his conflicts, passive-aggressively, without ever fully confronting his opponent head-on. 4 p.m. in Calabasas is just one example of how Drake likes to deal with beefs. While other rappers might release diss tracks or go to social media to call someone out, Drake often chooses a different route. He's more about dropping hints, making sly references, and letting his fans figure out who he's talking about. It's like a game of connect the dots, where only those paying close attention can catch the shade. This approach allows him to maintain his cool, never seeming too bothered by the drama but still getting his message across. The feud between Diddy and Drake, though it never erupted into a full-on public battle, is still an interesting moment in hip-hop history. On the surface, it seemed like just a dispute over a song, but it revealed a lot about both artists and how they handle conflict. For Diddy, the slap was a way of asserting his dominance, showing that he wasn't going to let anyone disrespect him, not even someone as big as Drake. For Drake, his silence was almost louder than words. By not giving the incident too much attention, he showed that he wasn't going to let it define him or his career. But the thing is, in the world of hip-hop, beef is almost part of the culture. Rivalries between artists aren't uncommon, and they often fuel creativity, giving birth to some of the most iconic songs and moments in music history. What makes the Diddy-Drake situation different is how both of them approached it afterward. Diddy, being the veteran, didn't hide his feelings. He was vocal about his frustration and wasn't afraid to let it be known. Drake, on the other hand, played the long game. He didn't need to slap back. His response came in the form of subtle lyrics that his fans could dissect and analyze for years to come. Even now, when fans talk about this moment, there's still a bit of mystery surrounding it. Did Diddy really slap Drake over a song, or was there more to it? Was 4 p.m. in Calabasas really aimed at Diddy, or are fans just reading too much into it? That's part of the intrigue. Neither Diddy nor Drake has ever fully laid out all the details, leaving room for speculation and keeping the story alive in the minds of fans. What we're left with is a story of two giants in the music industry, each with their own way of handling beef. Diddy, with his no-nonsense approach, wasn't afraid to let Drake know how he felt, even if it meant things got physical. Drake, always the cool, calculated artist, took his shots through his music, never fully engaging in a direct confrontation. It's a reminder that in the world of music, there are many ways to deal with conflict, and sometimes silence or subtlety speaks louder than any public feud ever could. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, make sure to check out this next video.